Hi everyone, Dr. Ty and Wendy here from Momentum Chiropractic. What we're going to go over with this video is Home Kit Part 2. And that's going to be the addition of head weights and shoulder weights if you're prescribed. Head weights, most everyone's going to do. Shoulder weights, not as many people will do, possibly even hip weights. And we'll have a different video for that. So Home Kit Part 2 is where we add the head weights, the shoulder weights, and the hip weights. The shoulder weights and hip weights, not everyone's gonna have, but the head weights, everyone will have, okay? So there'll be a separate video on the shoulder weights and the hip weights for those that are prescribed that specific thing. So what we're gonna do is demonstrate how to use these head weights. But first, what are the head weights for? This, in my opinion, is the most critical part of your home care. Most of the rest of the home kit, like Home Kit Part 1, is the wobbling, which is really tough to say that there's one part better than the other ones. The wobble is one of my favorites because of the motion it creates in the entire spine and the strength and the stability and the cerebral spinal fluid that it pumps. So this is really a critical component to this whole thing, okay? So we're gonna wobble again. We're gonna do this wobble and neck traction, and head weights and shoulder weights are gonna be twice a day. Morning and night, whatever you want to do, I just want you to fit it in there twice a day minimum in order to get the best results, okay? So this is a 10-minute routine, and you can check out the wobble video for that. The neck traction, again, there'll be another video for that. That's 60 repetitions that you're working up to. And then the 2-time-a-day things are going to be, again, the neck traction, wobble, the weights, and then a 1-time-a-day is at night. You're going to do the fulcrums, okay? So just to go through that, 1 time right before you go to bed, 2 times, 2 times, 2 times, okay? And these 3 are all done together. These 4 are all done together at night. There you go. So head weights. Why the head weights? Well, we spend all this time laying on these rolls, putting the neck traction. Most of that stuff is a passive pressure. We're opening things up, we're stretching things out, not necessarily strengthening as much. The wobble is going to be good strengthening for the intrinsic muscles of the spine, getting them in shape, not necessarily correcting. This is where we get a lot of this correction from, okay? Because when I put this on Wendy, there's going to be weights in whatever pockets that is prescribed to you. And in these pockets, that's going to create a resistance pulling Wendy forward. And when we create resistance against our bodies, we usually go against that resistance. So we're going to fight against that resistance. So if we're pulling Wendy's head forward, what is she going to do? She's going to resist back. Well, she's going to resist with the muscles that are going to be stimulated by your brain connecting to those muscles to pull that head back. We've already tested you at the office with an x-ray for what weight is going to work best for you and get the most change. And so that's already been done. So we know this works. So once we go ahead and re-x-ray 3 months down the line from the time we issue this, we want to see that change that we saw in our test x-ray or better, because we know it'll work. If we don't get that change, we know, unfortunately, you weren't doing your stuff the way you were supposed to. So make sure, help us out by doing your home care religiously twice a day the way you're supposed to, because that way I know what's working and what's not working, okay? So Wendy's going to put this on. There's a big Velcro strap right there. There's some adjustments on top. You can fiddle with those. The biggest thing I want you to do out of this is to be able to get that hat on, that harness on, so it's underneath this curvature of your skull right here. Women, it's really, really good if you have longer hair. Put your hair in a ponytail and put that big thick strap underneath the ponytail. Man, that works out perfect. So for us that have shorter hair, we need to make sure it gets a nice good fit here so that Wendy doesn't feel like this is going to fall off if she bends forward or anything like that. You don't want to feel this slip at all, because if it feels wobbly, then your spine is going to shift to try and catch it, and you're not knowing that. Now we're rehabilitating in a different position. That's not good. So it needs to be tight, not tight enough to give you a headache. If it is doing that and it's still slippery, you can get that shelving material that has, it's like bubbly and it has grip to it. cut off a piece like that and put it on your forehead, and then put this on your forehead, and that'll tighten it up without having to really cinch it down to give you a headache, okay? So that's one thing to look for. If you're getting a headache, then make sure you put that stuff there so it doesn't slip, and you can loosen it up a little bit, okay? Notice where it's at on her forehead is right above the eyebrows, perfectly right above the eyebrows. Now, this is really the hardest part. What you do is you just walk around and do stuff for 20 minutes. It's really that easy, okay? So there shouldn't be any excuses. You can do the dishes as long as you keep your head up. If you're looking down at the dishes with your eyes, that's fine. If you're looking down, your head just needs to be up, because if you're doing this, we're defeating the purpose of getting those muscles in the spine here as well as back here stimulated to pull that curve in there and reprogram those muscles, okay? So she can do anything she wants, walking around for 20 minutes and rehabbing herself just like that, okay? So where we're going to get the best benefit is neck traction wobble right before this. That gets the spine ready. Neck traction wobble head weights in the evening time, followed by this. Boom, you're good to go, okay? Actually, I'm gonna change that real quick. Neck traction wobble, then do your fulcrum blocks before, separate from when you're gonna do your weights, because I want your spine really nice and warm when you lay on those fulcrum blocks. So if you wanna do your weights a little bit earlier in the day, that's fine. If you wanna just put them on, that's fine. I'm okay with that if you wanna do it separate from all of this. Or if you wanna do these 3 times and this at extra time. Just make sure that that spine is well warmed up before you get on the blocks so we can get the best, the best spinal molding out of it, okay? So again, to go over the whole process of this, now that we have our head weights on, we know how to do it. We line up this midline stitch with the nose. We have it right across the eyebrows. We have the Velcro in the back, nice and snug. If it still feels like it's falling off, and if you feel like you can't tip your head forward without it falling off, then it's not set right. You want to be able to move your head around, and it just is part of your head, okay? So now that we have that set, here's the whole routine again. So home kit part 1 is we wobble 10 minutes, we neck traction 60 repetitions. Now we're gonna add home kit part 2. We're gonna do our head and shoulder weights and hip weights if we prescribe those two to you as well. In the evening time, or the second time, what we're gonna do is find a time that you can do your head weights separately if you want. Maybe while you're sitting down for dinner. If you can hold your head up and eat your dinner, that's great. 20 minutes. Walking around doing something, sitting at the dinner table, just get them on your head and get it done. Fire those muscles, okay? You can even put them on while you're doing your wobble disc on the second time for 10 minutes, and then walk around a little bit after that, okay? So the second time will be wobble 10 minutes with the head weights on if you want, or separately, neck traction, and then we're gonna go right to the rolls, because that spine is nice and warm, those discs are nice and warm, it's ready to mold into the right position that we want it at, okay? Twice a day for this, twice a day for all of this, except for the blocks is once a day. Just remember that, okay? Why are we doing all this? Again, the most important thing that we can do is get that spine and that curve as best as we can to that 45 degrees of forward lumbar spine, forward neck curve, and get us right all the way down the road from the top to the bottom, because if we're walking around like this, something is going to give at some point, and we don't want that. We want our spine healthy because it's what makes our brain healthy, because it protects all those signals, and a healthy brain means longevity, means clarity, means you get to be the best functional version of you, which means everyone else gets to benefit from that. And that's what this is all about, is that we can be at our best to serve at our best for everyone else. And that's what our office is about at Momentum. So this is home care part 2 with a review of part 1. And so any questions, make sure you're asking us at the office. And again, for those that are not patients, if you want to get involved with this and check your spine, what does your spine look like? That's my question to everybody, okay? Okay, so that is home kit part 2 with a review of home kit part 1. And this is Momentum Chiropractic, Dr. Ty and Wendy. We're signing off. So be blessed and be a blessing.